Okay, now we're going to work on the quadratic formula, which you should know is x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Even though we can solve every single quadratic equation using by completing the square, it's still nice to have the quadratic formula to just kind of go through and solve it. Even though you don't have to think very much about doing it, it is a nice way because it's what a computer would use. And if you were programming a computer to solve a quadratic equation, you would do it by using the quadratic formula. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first one. In order to solve by the quadratic formula, you actually have to have an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So when I look at this first one, it is in that form. It is 1x squared minus 1x minus 1 equals 0. So I would want to label what my a, b, and c are. My a is 1, my b is -1, and my c is -1. Now I would just plug them in to the quadratic formula in the appropriate place. So x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared, and -1 squared is 1, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a, or 2. And now all you have to do is simplify this. So 1 plus or minus the square root of, this is minus 4 times 1 times -1. That makes plus 4. 1 plus 4 is 5 all over 2. And you can actually leave it like that, or some people like to write it like this: 1/2 plus or minus root 5 over 2. So either one of those is okay. Okay, in the second problem, 2x squared minus or equals -6x minus 7. That's actually not written in the correct form to be able to solve using the quadratic formula. So in order to do it, we need to move everything over to the left side. I'm going to have to add this 6x to both sides, and I'm also going to have to add this 7 to both sides, and I should end up with 2x squared plus 6x plus 7 equals 0. Then I can go ahead and label my a, b, and c. A is equal to 2, b is equal to 6, and c is equal to 7. And plug them into the quadratic formula. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 36, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a. 2 times a is 4. So as I simplify, I've got 36 minus something. What do I got here? I've got 4 times 2 is 8 times 7 is 56. So I've got 36 minus 56. -6 plus or minus the square root of -20 over 4. I could simplify this quite a bit because of the square root of 20 is going to be simplified. However, I think maybe the easiest thing, since it's going to be an I in it anyway, is just to write -6 plus or minus I root 20 over 4. To start with, the square root of 20 is equal to 4 times 5, and so I can simplify that by taking the square root of 4 times the square root of 5 and getting actually 2 root 5. So instead of the root 20 over there on the right, I can have x equals -6 plus or minus 2I root 5 divided by 4. Both the 6 and the 2 are divisible by 2, and 4 has a factor of 2 in it, so I could divide both of those by 2 and actually get -3 plus or minus I root 5 over 2, and that would be completely simplified all the way down.